Well, welcome everyone. I am Tyrese Brown. I will be co-hosting with Carla today. I got added to the roster a little late, but that's all right. I've been with West Oakland to West Africa since its origins back in Oakland. So I'm really, really excited to be here to celebrate the third book launch. So we're here for Black Rootedness. We're going to be hearing some amazing poets. We'll go over their bios and learn more from them. And we will talk a little bit about exactly what West Oakland to West Africa is. But I'm looking at the names in the chats, and I feel like you already know what it's about. But just in case you needed a little history, 2013, which sounds like so long ago. Was it 2013, Carla? That long ago? Jeez.
Yeah, I think it was.
2013. Oakland-based poets partners with poets from Halakasa, Ghana. The Poetry Exchange has grown from its roots in hip-hop and the griot culture. And today, again, we're celebrating the third anthology, which showcases the third exchange. And it's titled Black Rootedness. So it includes 54 poets. You're going to hear some of those poets today alongside their poet partners. And it is an exchange between Oakland, Nigeria, and Kenya in collaboration with Patrice Lumumba Writing Collective, CIA Lagos. And we are going to also be able to purchase the book, and I'll drop the link in just a few after I finish talking. I'm going to drop the link for you to purchase the book. And you can also follow West Oakland to West Africa on all the social media platforms. We'll drop the link there. You can keep in touch with the poets through our social media, as well as let us know what you think about our work and any ways you want to collaborate with West Oakland to West Africa. And we do want to remind the collective today that we are saying that we are on native land. So we want to respect that and honor that. We also want to recognize that poetry is an expression. With that being said, poets are allowed to, and we welcome poets being really raw, being vulnerable, using verbiage that really reflects their feelings. With that being said, everyone has feelings, and some people may feel offended or may feel that certain topics are a little sensitive. So if you can let people know that you're about to say something that might, cause them to feel a certain type of way, you can say it before you start your poem. You can drop it in the chat, whatever feels right to you, just so people can prepare themselves, put on that armor, and hopefully still listen, but also feel safe at the same time, okay? We want everyone to feel comfortable in this space. That being said, tonight, is it tonight somewhere? We're gonna pretend like it's tonight somewhere. Tonight, our main MC is Carla Brundage. She is a poet, she's an author, and she is the founder of Kuwo to Wild West Oakland, West Africa. Carla?
Thank you, Tyrese. I'm so happy to be here today and so excited for all of the voices we're about to hear. I've really enjoyed this project. West Oakland to West Africa has grown, as Tyrese shared, and we are launching our new book today with poets in partnership with Patrice Lumumba Writing Collective and Key Stretch Poetry Festival in Nigeria. And so I'm gonna just dive right in. We're gonna have our readers, and then after our readers, we'll have time for question and answer. So if you want to put questions and answers, please put them in the chat. And I just want to thank everyone for coming out today. Thank you, Tyrese, for being here since the beginning, and give props to her organization, Excessive Volume, and also give props to Audrey Williams from Ancestral Futures, who are going to be here with us today. So I'm about to introduce our first two readers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the bios of the readers who were partnered and exchanged poetry together for over a couple of months, reflecting on different prompts. And we'll spotlight both of you together And so I'm going to introduce our first reader, which is Seestah IMAHKÜS, Nzingah Okofu, aka Mama One Africa. Seestah IMAHKÜS and her husband, Nana Okofu, repatriated to Ghana from New York in 1990. A prolific writer with a candid sense of humor, she has authored Returning Home Ain't Easy, But It Sure Is a Blessing, in which she shares her personal experiences and demonstrates what it takes to settle and make Ghana one's home. And Dr. Christopher Okemwa is a lecturer at Kisii University and the director of Key Stretch International Poetry Festival in Kenya. He's published collections of poetry, novels, and oral literature and children's stories. And he's the editor of the international collection, I Can't Breathe. So we're gonna spotlight them as readers. And yeah, Becca, yeah, there we go. Welcome, Seestah IMAHKÜS.
Thank you very much. And it is nighttime here in Rwanda. And first and foremost, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory to our Mother, Father, Creator, and to the memory of our great African ancestors whose shoulders we stand upon, whose backs we lean upon, and whose shoulders have held us up until today. My first poem is called Initiation. Initiation into my golden years. What? Initiation into what? Am I some kind of nut? I still got my strut, my teeth, my hair, and my lovely butt. Initiation. Initiation into what? Growing old, becoming more bold, looking like chocolate-covered gold with silver-coated locks. I never said I was a fox, but I won't be put into that box of constantly being reminded that I am getting old. Besides, what is getting old is that gory story we've been told about getting old. Initiation. Initiation into what? My golden years, molded tears, the absence of hot gold scalding tears of the ones I've loved and lost throughout the years. I remember going through that stage, through that turbulent and oft-times hectic age, but I've managed to survive like the queen bee in a busy hive, looking good, feeling strong, like a newborn as I gallop into my golden stage, and thank God, Goddess, for this glorious age of 78 years, 10 months, 2 days, and multiple seconds. Initiation into what? My second poem is called COVID-19, the Plandemic, a lockdown poem from Mama One Africa. I wept. I wept for those who will live. I wept for those who will die. I wept for those who lied. I wept for those who died. I wept for the mothers and the fathers, the sisters and the brothers. I wept for the whole world wide. I wept for a world gone wild, where good sense became nonsense and people no longer had sense. The rich will die with the poor, and what once was will be no more. I wept for the grandmothers and the grandfathers, the aunts, the uncles, and the cousins, the nieces, the nephews, and the friends, and the world we once knew, but will never know again. So don't give up the fight, African people of the light, long known for our might, endurance, and insight. We were gods and goddesses then, and will certainly be that again. African people, rise up. Let not this enemy destroy us. With love, unity, diversity, and trust as our thrust, winning this battle is a definite must. It's our time to rise up from the dust, reclaim what is rightfully for us, our African birthright, our freedom, our trust, and liberation a must. Let's throw in the lake Bill Gates and his mates in the lake of fire and brimstone where they can't atone for the misery they've thrown at a world that now moans. It is now time to throw the wicked babies out with the bathwater. Our ancestors implore us to follow their orders and take back what's rightfully ours. Our minds and our dignity and love of our families, our natural resources without remorses, our rich and our fertile lands. Let us take Africa back from the foreign hands that stole our land, those who do not love us nor mean us any good. Africa will not be a graveyard for us, but will be for those who've come to molest us. Listen to the reverberating voices on the wind, the voices we hear now and the voices we heard then. Rise up, my Africa, and do not bend. It is now time to send the enemies of Africa out of our lands. It is time to rise up, O Africa, to institute our plan. We will weep no more. I will weep no more. Ashe. Thank you.
Ashe.
So centering. What a way to bring us into what we're here to talk about and just the feels of it. Thank you, Monica.
Give thanks.
Thank you. Dr. Okemwa, I don't know if you're in he's been having trouble with his internet. Are you here, Dr. Okemwa? Okay, I think we're going to move forward. I know he's trying to log on. He was on a few minutes ago. To our next two readers, CJ, Chase Jameson, Manar Spears, and Alfred Nyagaka. Are you here, Alfred? Can you turn on your camera and correct my pronunciation if I pronounced your name wrong?
Thank you. I'm Yamanga Alfred. Don't know if you're hearing me.
Yes, but we don't see you. Do you have your video?
Okay.
Perfect. If you could spotlight Tyrese, both Alfred and Chase, and then I will read their bios as we prepare. And if you two can alternate, that would be beautiful, reading your different poems. That would be really wonderful.
I don't know what I can be heard. Are you seeing me now?
Yes, we can hear you and see you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. Welcome.
Is Chase around?
Huh?
Is Chase on board? Yes, I'm asking about Chase. Is she on board?
I'm here.
My partner, yeah, she's there.
Hey, partner.
Welcome. Thank you.
Yes. So I want to introduce you and then you can start.
It's okay. Thank you. Welcome.
Okay. So Chase Jameson, CJ Akila Manar Spears is a multidimensional Pan-African creative born and raised in Ohlone lands. They are inspired by ancestral expressions for love, internal changes within society, and the creative source of nature. They began creating as a form of healing and joined this project to discover collective meaning. Alfred Yamanje is pursuing Yamanje.
Okay, welcome.
Alfred Yamanje is pursuing a PhD in literature at Kisi University. He has published a children's story called The Smell of New Shoes, a collection of adult short stories titled The Woman Called Angel, and two novels titled Bloodstains and Sunlight on a Broken Column. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you. Maybe I will start by, my name is Nyagaka. Yamanje, that's the name, Alfred Yamanje. I hope you are hearing me. Am I being heard?
Yes.
Loud.
Thank you. I'm going to read. I don't know what kind of arrangement my partner has. I wish I would know that whether she's going to read first, but then let me just read what I have here. I have my first poem, which is entitled My Song, My Life. Let me just read it. To score and 10, Mam Kerry, and the dirty doubt to are blessed with a son. This is my song, Alan Oturi, born in the green hills of Gusiland, Western Kenya, and grew in the village of Iteba, played in the village parts, hide and seek in the banana groves, and the corn patches and tree sticks, and stones with village urchins, served, injuries, left animals in our care to eat, others crops got beaten, collected firewood from the cornfields, the straws and hurled sticks at the dry blue gums, stored guavas, and ripe maize to roast, and the sugarcane, fetched from the springs, where all women with tins and pots shovel, us to the edges, and not girls spewed on our faces, and with streaks of water, sooty furious balance on our heads, chased by dogs, and mocked by fellas from other hoods during string ball matches. We had fights with Mauritius stones, pots, and sticks, and watched rams quiet out on the plains amid stall and swamped batches. And school saved me from those darlons. And at Mokoro Primary, I found the pics and the colors of gloss books too attractive. I remained and wrote on slates, sat on logs and stones until I grew lanky. And in this, I discovered words of books of lands afar, simplified series of Dickens, Shakespeare, Twain, etc., and got fixated. Until at Kiomosh Secondary, I discovered the Achebe, Ngugi, Amati Magic. I read books, I imbibed knowledge, and saw myself get a high school slot in the prestigious girls' school. And my next stop was UON for bachelor's, political science, and English, and finally the Dajuan in teaching. Over 3 decades, I've stuck without a chalk, with a passion to shape the youth, how great to inspire, plant, and grow humanity, at least as me, son of doubt. That's my first reading. I would love that I just comes up and reads the other poem. Then I can read my second poem later.
Okay, cool.
Yes, welcome.
Yes, that was so nice. Alfred, I really like how you create whole images, and that was like a short film or a movie, essentially, with your words. That was very beautiful. So the first poem that I'm gonna share is called Mefri, and it's also about where I come from. Okay, so I was raised by the deep, the dope, the spiraling, all flowing, knowing of our mother, ocean, bled from the womb of our cosmic creatress, breastfed stardust, rose quartz, and greatness. I'm an East Oakland empress reborn each generation. I come from that powerful patience sustained by spiritual revelations. Giving birth to our purposes feels as easy as lake walking, revolutionary talking, Black poetry reading, deep breathing, Africans. I come from knowing we belong together. I come from the ocean, from the dark side of the moon, where you can catch a glimpse of Yemoja and Oshun, feeling the juice drip out of a taco truck masterpiece, radically reclaimed history spray painted on these streets, mystical femme mystique pouring libations over beats, an everlasting line of ancestral memories, gracefully reminding me who the fuck I am. I will always be that duality, divinity, destiny, reclaiming everything. I come from the Most High. God took their divine time, painting and sustaining just exactly where I come from. They stay trying to deny us children of the sun as our vessels radiate the restorative truth that we are one. The time has come to remember the love we are from. Yep, that was my first poem.
Okay, thank you. That's wonderful, very beautiful. I love that. Now let me read my second poem. It is entitled Nada. In the deep of the forest where dew rains, in thousands of droplets raining on the foliage, in the damp stench of fresh and dead leaves, are shadows like crooked mannequins frolic, and animal bleats, and the bird flaps in the caves of fire dances and flames flare, and elephants trumpet. Nada. You shine like an ebon swollen with want, firm, through the scattered torrents that sweep into eyes, blinding. Then in the calm where orange light shine, and insects swarm and bats twerk in dashes, and dives and dives, and your ripeness swollen with one true long lashes, arched eyebrows, lined neck and rounded sway of your shoulders, that the palpitating dances of one nativity. In your rich medallions beckoning emperors to the mound mounted on the expanse of Magon, seesawing of fertile leaves, and vibrating curves, trembling dyes, and bubbling bosoms gata, inviting the rich heart of sweeters, crowds in exchange of your smooth palm and embrace of future possibilities. Nata, your attraction is a legend and told, like a rhythmic song suspended on the arena, waiting for a prince's gong to align to new vistas, new advances, a future. Thank you. That's my second poem. I'd welcome you to read your second poem, and then I hope the others are listening to what we are reading. Welcome.
Yes, I definitely heard that. That was amazing. Okay, so I think I'll go ahead and read from this poem that I dedicated to all my divine feminine ancestors. And it's titled God is My First Ancestor. That's an affirmation that I received from a beautiful mentor by the name of Destiny Muhammad. It's quite short, but to the point. The world rotates around the sun of Black womanhood. Basically, we blessed by feminine ancestry, hood alchemy, slowly cooked greens. I don't always know the meanings of my ancestors' names. I'm so forever grateful for how they bless me either way. The mercy and the grace, the pure beauty in our face as we balance and raise, make mistakes and rematriate. I give thanks in every language for the women whose names we never say. Yes, thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for
also
that
thank you,
amazing
Alfred, for
reading.
being such a dope partner. Appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you too. I hope the others were listening to us.
Yes. How could you not? How could you not? I think what CJ was saying with hood alchemy, like that summarizes. It was such a both of y'all. You took me, Alfred, to where you're from. CJ, you just balanced me back into my femininity. I want to I don't know what I want to be around a whole bunch of women for the rest of the day. I love
welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. What a beautiful, beautiful partnership and exchange. And in the introduction of the book, which is available online, the person who introduced the book, Rashida Ismaili, commented on this particular exchange as something that struck her as soulful. So it'll be really great when you get the book and, read it out, check out all the different poets and exchanges, the voices, the different topics. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. That's wonderful.
Yes. I hope you all continue to communicate.
We will.
Oh,
I'm even planning to come up with an anthology.
I noticed Dr. Okemwa has returned, so I would like to spotlight him again, as well as Seestah IMAHKÜS. We would like to bring you back into the spotlight while he shares his poems, even though you already shared your poems. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So
I'm back now.
Yes, wonderful. I'm just going to read your bio one more time.
Yeah.
It's in the chat already. Oh goodness, sorry, I'm looking for it.
I'll put it in the chat again because
Welcome, partner.
bios are so great.
Thank you.
Now a little bit about.
So Dr. Okemwa is a lecturer of literature at Kisii University and the director of Key Stretch International Poetry Festival in Kenya, which we are going to attend next year in 2023. He's published collections of poetry, novelists, oral literature, and children's stories. He's the editor of the international collection, I Can't Breathe. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm sorry to come in late, but it's because of technology, which keeps on eluding me all the time. But I think I'm okay now. I'm really happy and very much excited that this kind of thing is working so well, that we are able to meet on one platform and be able to share poetry. And when I was reading the introduction to this anthology, I kept on reading it over and over and trying to really figure out how Carla traveled to West Africa on that journey she calls the soul journey, which most of you will be making next year in 2023 if you come to Kenya. And I kept on reading this Sankofa thing and the Sankofa film, and also trying to figuring it out and trying to see how Carla traveled to West Africa and how beneficial it was to her, and how she felt and the excitement she had for traveling back to her ancestral land. It is such a great thing. Now let me go ahead and read my poem. My first poem is called I Will Weep No More. I will weep no more for our stolen land, stolen culture, stolen artifacts, stolen God, and the importation of a white God for our brothers who died in the war, for our brothers who were taken as slaves, for our brothers who were injected with syphilis. I will weep no more. The earth is already soaked enough with my tears, and the heavens are deafened with my whinings. I will weep no more for the oppression meted out to our ancestors, the denial of dignity, rights, freedoms, and peace. I will weep no more because the sky drops rain and washes my tears, and the stars in heaven twinkle hope and peace into my soul. I will weep no more for the history of our people that was deleted, for the lies told to our children in history classes, for racial discrimination against our people. I will weep no more because the moon shines upon my night and the sun bestows me with power, hope, and resilience. I will weep no more for the killing of our beloved sons, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Amadou Diallo, Ahmaud Arbery, Eric Garner, Elijah McClain, Tamir Rice. I will weep no more because their breaths keep rising and have reached the heavens, turning into rain, wind, stars, metals, air, clouds, hills, trees, soil, rivers, oceans, lakes, streams. I will weep no more. Yes, that's the end of my first poem. Yeah, thank you so much. I think I'll give Seestah to read her poem also. Seestah IMAHKÜS Nzingah, who is my partner.
Well, I read my poem before, but you want me to read it again? I can.
Okay,
I
if
wept.
you are done it, then to save time, maybe I can read the next poem. Yes. Let me read my next poem because my partner had already read her poem. Okay, yes. My next poem is called He Called Upon His Mama. This is on George Floyd, and the poem is published in the anthology Black Rootedness. I remember when his neck was pinned to the ground, the earth shook in terror. Tears stung our eyes in agony and bitterness. We cast the stinking knee, hated the chokehold. We gnashed our teeth and bit our lips, and we did not believe in the world anymore. I remember when he uttered, "I can't breathe." The world closed its eyes in horror. Vengeance, hatred, rolled furiously around us like poisonous wind. Our intestines coiled inside us in shame and in utter despair. We wondered how a man can do such a heinous act to his own brother. Why and for what reason? I remember when he wriggled on the ground, he called upon his mama to plead for his case. But his mama had long gone into the winds. She could hear, but could not answer. "I can't breathe," he mumbled. His pupils dilated and rolled in their sockets. Beneath the knee, his breathing diminished. "My nuts, some water, please." Shit. His limbs slowly fell apart. Energy escaped him. I am through, I'm through. His mouth dropped, his eyelids closed. He stopped breathing. George Floyd was dead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good.
Thank you so much.
That was
Yeah,
great,
that's the end
my
of my
partner.
poems.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so
Let
much.
us.
I keep hearing the line, "The earth is already soaked with my tears. I will weep no more." That definitely is something that resonated with me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
And I was just amazed upon meeting you. Dr. Okemwa is my partner in crime in that as we started the exchange, he's the leader of the group in Kenya, in Kisii, and has gathered all the poets you see here today on his side to partner with us. And I was always so excited by the fact that you had put together that international collection of over 1,000 poets from around the world reacting to the murder of George Floyd, and how profound it is that the whole world is watching as these horrors take place. And there are many people who see the injustice, and Dr. Okemwa wanted to raise that out into the international scope. So I just wanted to thank you for that. And I just loved your exchange. It was such a beautiful exchange between the two of you.
May I just say one quick thing? I was really quite taken with your poem of I Wept, and that both of us on separate parts, different parts of the continent, both wrote poems about weeping.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes.
I think the inspiration came from your poem, which ended with the line, "I will weep no more." And I think the poem was born out of your last line of your poem. So it was inspired by you. So thank you so much, Seestah. Thank you.
Give thanks. Give thanks.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We're going to move on to our next two poets, Landon and Josephat. And I will introduce you both together. Tyrese will put your bios in the chat, and then we will spotlight you. So welcome so much. Landon Smith is a father, professor, poet, half Mende, half Balanta and Fulani. That feeling of falling that wakes you up in a dream, the amethyst, the geode on your desk, Angela Davis's afro, Frantz Fanon's pocket notebook, Walter Rodney's fingernail, the seven. I don't know what that was. Sorry about that.
A little supersonic moment to wake us all up.
Supersonic moment.
Supersonic, to remind us how electrifying this reading is.
Yes, Landon. It was funny. I was just reading The Bowling Split, and then it went wah 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 wah. And your favorite pillow. That's such a beautiful bio. Josephat Ndeje Mauti is a playwright and poet. Through his writings, he chronicles the theme of moral decadence in society. He has published 2 plays, The Valentine Wedding by Publican Publishers and The Forbidden Fruit. His poems also have been published by the Kiestrich Poetry Festival and many more that you can read in his bio in the chat. So welcome to Josephat and Landon.
Thank you. What's up, Josephat? I mean, feel free if you want to go ahead and go first. I know we can alternate. So if you want to go ahead and do yours first.
No problem. Let me just go in first. So I'll read my first poem, which is published in the anthology that we are launching today. Is entitled "I Come From a Place." Here it goes. I come from a place where love grows on trees, yet no one is permitted to pick. Roses hang down from rooftops, but cursed are you if you dare smell any. Honey flows down the mountains, but alas, you can't lick it, even if it trickles down to your mouth. I come from a place where life is better lived in a dream, and women see their husbands once in a blue moon. I come a place where hunters are often hunted, and security officers always insecure. I come from a place where music booms at the dawn of dusk, roads impassable at sundown, and mothers rush for the 6 p.m. TV series. Yes, I come from a place where all roads lead homeward at dusk, for home is always the best place. Thank you. That's my first poem. So Landon, you can go in, I think.
Yeah. And I'll actually just read the one that couples with that one, which comes in that anthology, which is called Broken Home. So, for home is always the best place to find where liberation was stolen. If you can see past the smoke from headboard bullet holes. Good bones break just as easily if the CIA stages a coup on time, just to make it home in time for imperialism to be celebrated by not asking questions. Maybe America was the broken home Gil was coming from. Dirt beneath fingernails won't come clean, with blood mixed in from Iraqi floors, seeing just enough grieving to displace a generation with bomb buildings to call home. An Oval Office regime changes, passing torches in ceremony over the bodies, just melanated enough to not be human enough for home to be breath, for home to be more than a lost country determined to eat itself. So that's the first one. And Joseph can do his second.
Thank you so much, Mr. Smith. I love your poem. I've actually read it over and over since we finished the exchange, and I really love
Thanks,
it.
man.
So I'll move into my, you're welcome. I move into my second poem. It is entitled My In-Laws. So it goes, their fiery red eyes protruded through the fence, unblinking, waiting. At my back, little Nyansiaboka yawned. The old tattered lasso loosely held her. I tightened it. The eyes shifted. I pressed forward. I balanced the water pot on my head and pressed uphill. I could see my little heart up the hill, and my littles as they staged a spirited fight over a pot of porridge. The old lasso tore. Phew! Little Nyansiaboka almost landed with a thud. I caught her midway. But the pot fell. It broke. Their pot broke. The red fiery eyes rushed forth, unblinking, carrying sticks, mouths frothing, chanting, she must go, she must go, this witch must go. The sticks landed on me mercilessly. How dare I break their pot? Enough, I cried. I'm going back home. Go away, barren witch. My boy wants sons, not good for nothing girls. My littles stood at the doorstep, eyes watered. They stared up at me, unblinking. I sighed, carried them to the kitchen, silently sobbing. How can I leave you, my sweet little ones? Thank you so much. That's the second one. Wow,
man, I love Joseph's style, man. I was really like in this exchange. I just really love his style of communicating, his like his spirit through his words. It's really beautiful. I'm gonna do this second one. Doesn't have a title yet, but I will say I know Darius is also in here, and there's Darius kind of influenced part of the spirit of this poem, so maybe he'll be in the title of it. There are children in prison. That wasn't a punchline. Sometimes I like to start poems with a fact like capitalism is a plague, or there is no such thing as a white South African, or there are too many white people walking dogs in my neighborhood. One was wearing a Yay Area shirt, called the cops on me and said my hair was disturbing the peace. First rule of Fight Club, don't listen to white men. And what good is a Fight Club that ain't never fought for my splinters in my back? Spoke to me in fluent denial, language I only seen on the dust jacket of a tall tale. Spent 3 summers trying to find my voice. Had to use violence to do it. Had to preach violence for violence sake, break the jaw of the softness nobody listened to, and then considered burying me with my poems when I started to speak from a Lorraine Motel balcony about the gun tucked under my tongue that I stashed beneath the curtain waiting for the next bomb, the next bomb. The next time a bomb shows itself at my doorsteps, I will use thoughts and prayers and arm myself with white women's hot takes because ain't shit more violent. Imperialism walking with a hole in its leg the last 2 summers. Threw up flares about Cuba and China again. Playing red light, green light with cul-de-sac barbecues, toasting the dead feet on the ground for cash. This empire shit ain't gonna last anyway. And all I got is gold teeth so my poems appreciate over time. So you take these words more seriously. So you'd Afrikaans nightmare yourself to sleep on the rocking chair made from my great-grandmother's whittled bones. Only white people fail upward. The rest of us fell into a 3x3 cell covered in email reply alls and the debt hoisted only the left shoulder blade could hold, while the right trying to work through the punishment from the last failure. I talked to my childhood home on Sunday nights, hoping I'll find a time where failing won't mean I'm 2 puddles under a tax-paid tire while my child learns how to fail at being fatherless for the first time. I hope I held enough time in their palm to be the reason they keep trying. Classroom might beat the genius out of their right hand looking for results on a eugenic scale. Cold pressed every fallen brick of grandma's home into my ashes before I left. Made sure I took fragments with me into the next life. Maybe I'll learn that violence only fails when violence fails. And I was never successful after all. And there is only love in my heart to fail this one last time, so to make it count, I leave this poem in my will. Paid for by the future of my right hand to follow after my left, and that you have to be quicker when they come for you. I guess failure ain't an option after all. After all of this, the only life that you know, only been trying to see the 3-ring circus with better glasses and no insurance. I'm ready to go home, wherever that may be. Spinning Tracy Chapman records under my still body, clutching Walter Rodney and my rigor mortis fingerprint just to hold room for one last disappointment on my way to find peace somewhere. Florida back roads, talking to the skin on my upper back. Say it got some leather for me if I don't keep moving. On the wrong side of a North Star train track, you might find my solitary body a sundown sheriff caught a whiff of, started unclipping holster, not knowing in my left palm I pack the souls of the fields, and in my right I shoot back at cops. Bald fist ain't enough for the weight on my back now, and ain't no sunset long enough for the last breath in my left palm, so I sing blues spirituals before you ask me why I choose violence. I can't know peace yet. Not with this grass slicing my ankle bones, Unc. Not with these worn down tires still begging for freedom, Unc. Read me my last rites now so I can roll my eyes. On behalf of the hands gripping my left palm, I have no choice but the back alley, the backwoods, buried disposition beneath Polk County plantation fences. I might dance tonight, too. Cut a rug one time for the ones who cut bondage from their left leg to kick the bucket with their right. I stare this plantation pig in the face, knowing to be invincible is to carry the souls of the fields with me, and to tell that judge I am not sorry, because talking to hope is dangerous, especially when hope puts weapon to palm, dims the lights, and can't see itself anymore, decides freedom means finally returning fire, pulling shells from the left hip and turning couth into a 3-course meal, flicking scraps out of molars with a new appetite for finding freedom and one less uniform in the rear view, one less speech about the law, one less press conference about the rule of the land, this land that breathes genocide every Monday morning from the breath of its latte while hope gets pulled out of its home by the toenails, asking itself, why not shoot back? Why not pull peace from the left bicep, bury it next to the child lost in a gilded ritual, praising black robes and high chairs with long wind and fat pockets, and for hope to speak on behalf of the future chains, future holes dug, waiting to fill themselves with debt for a white fence. Hope to break light bulbs of a dream school bell sang odes to in this metaphor of a country, metaphor to a headstone placed in front of a congressional hearing ready to eulogize what stood before the lights cut out and this hunger turned into the next hunting party, and the only body left is the one picking bullets out of teeth. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yikes.
Who said yikes? Who said yikes?
I said yikes, and then I said how? Back.
That's it. That's it. There's nothing to say.
There's a great amount of reflection in the chat for this exchange. Both of your poetry is so inspiring. Thank you so much for this exchange. And I really hope, I know Landon, I know everyone is thinking of making the journey in 2023. Folks in the audience, please buy the book. The poetry is dope. And Tyrese is putting the link in the chat. If you made a donation today to our readers, all the funds we get gets divided up between our readers. And so please, if you're feeling moved, that's great. I'm going to move forward to our next partners. Thank you so much, Landon and Josephat. Do you all want to say anything to each other?
Let me go first, Landon. I really appreciate you. You are a great poet. And I really look forward to working with you very soon. Believe it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, definitely. I'm really excited to come over there. It's been like obviously like a life goal of mine to touch feet down over there. So I'm excited for that trip to happen, and hopefully we can link up in person when that does happen.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm going to bring up our next two readers, LadiRev and Rebecca Mose, who goes by Becca the Poet, and Tyrese is going to put their bios in the chat. You do need to have your camera on to be seen. So yeah, thank you, LadiRev. Great. Kiani Shaw, aka Lady Revolutionary, LadiRev, is a poet from Bayview's Hunters Point. Her poetry is a reflection of personal struggle and values learned from friends and family. LadiRev is passionate about community, education, and healing. It only takes one person to make a stand, but it takes a community to make a change, is her quote. Mose Rebecca Mogina, aka Becca the Poet, is a Kenyan writer born in the late 1990s. She developed writing at the age of 14, and her writing skills have grown through today. Her work reflects on society. Becca the Poet has influenced many youth in her writings. She is a stage performer and has been featured on Kenyan TV channels, and they're listed here. And she's also participated in several poetry festivals, including the Key Stretch International Poetry Festival. And so please read about them more in the chat. Welcome, LadiRev and Becca.
Thank you. Hey. Hi, LadiRev.
Hey, Becca, how you doing?
I'm good. I think I can go first, and then you just come later.
Mm-hmm.
All right. My first piece is called Just Because I'm a Girl. And there I go. Just because I am a girl, I'm forced to be mutilated, cut by the ugly blunts. Sorry. Okay, there I go. Just because I'm a girl, they want me to stay at home, or worse still, cook for someone older and wealthier, someone with money, cows and wives, someone children and great grandchildren. Just because I'm a girl. Just because I'm a girl, they take me out of the keys of life, force me to wash and collect firewood, to sit and laugh aloud as I coil beaten by the smoke and soot, coughing and battling with smoke in the dark pits full of utensils. Just because I'm a girl, they snatch me freedom of speech, to listen and agree to their judgments, to argue, not even when I'm right. They make decisions on my behalf. Since I have no say, I have to agree. Just because I'm a girl, I'm forced to be mutilated by the ugly, blunt-eyed old iron, to scream not for help, but behave like a well-taught woman, to carry countless children on my small belly, children who know not their fate. and cast shunned away if I got no men. Just because I'm a girl doesn't mean I am no human. I am a girl. I'm a human being on that matter. My rights I'll fight for. I am tired of cooking. I'm tired of marrying my great-grandfathers. I'm tired of being cut, and the pain is so painful. Give me a chance to speak, please. That is my first reading. Back to you, LadiRev.
Okay. I'm gonna do I Come From, which was fed off of a poem that Becca sent to me. Reflected from society, I learned at an early age that fate is never destined. I come from patched fences and hand-me-down blankets. Southern hospitality raised me to be a servant to adversity, but California air warps you into a martyr. You would think the land be desert because of the salty water, but evolution served us better. My father's father traveled from north looking for freedom. He found law instead. My grandmother was banished from New York. This led her west. I was created from a clash of cultures. Cognitive dissonance and order. Ferocious lions wait in police cars on corners, but there is still love. Grown babies raised by elders twice removed, teenagers dressed in battle wounds, and every day we wake to conquer.
Wow, that is so nice. And I think I can do my second reading. I think I can perform now that I'm a stage performer. There you go. The title of the poem is The Cry of a Beggar. Don't call me a beggar. Don't call me a beggar because you call me a beggar, still back from a vendor. Never beg was my mama's daily anthem. I can still remember her soft voice whispering through my ears. Her good advice was my daily belief because I get back to sleep. But why did you leave that early, mama? Leaving me in a world without a word. Now begging as if you've left nothing behind. They say, when I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. But to me, it's different. When I walk along the streets, at least to get something for my belly, they call me a beggar. When I scorch the beans, at least for some beans, they thorn me with another one. Chokora pipa, it hurts, it pains, it makes me bleed. But who cares? Let them call me a beggar as we grow and glow in the blossoms of the savannah. Let them spat on me, it will rain and wash away, for I believe he cares. And if you can't put value in me, if you can't replenish the stars, neither write my history, kindly don't call me a beggar, call me Becca. That is my second reading. Back to you, LadiRev.
Right on, okay with the hot fire. My second reading is called Back Then. Another feeding off of one of her poems. Then he found the dove. It was his time to rest. Back in the day, my feet knew ground like dust knows air. I'd grip grass between my toes to shake hands with her. Little pebbles and stones mixed with rocks and sand be good training ground. We didn't know we was playing with freedom. Our souls danced on sun-kissed roads. Every day was a journey. Tree marks cemented on ankles. Steady eyes could see the heritage in these folds, culture in the arch. My mama's voice echoing jives. Back then, flesh touched flesh. Tired bones rested on plastic couches and air spoke honestly of the earth. I never knew innocence, but we knew we were pure. Way back when imagination dictated socialism, when money was on trees in everybody's backyards. Snowflakes made heavenly ices, more caterpillars than butterflies because struggle gave peace. And now, full body and settled mind, just wishing to be a kid again.
Wow.
Wow.
You look like you want to say something, Tyrese.
Yeah. You know how CJ was talking about like that divine feminine energy and that like that balance, like as she put in the chat, your energies match. Like it's powerful. There's some powerful energy there. Hope y'all get to meet.
It's kind of funny because the first exchange we did with West Oakland to West Africa, the leaders chose, so me and Sir Black in Ghana chose the matches we just chose, and it wound up, we thought, pretty good. And so this is why I believe there's a kind of a higher power. So this year I was kind of like, I don't know if people remember, but in the first meeting we did that funny introduction where I was like, if you were a flower, if you were a bird, and everybody wrote sort of like if they were something, and then I matched people like randomly, but based on what bird or flower you said you would be. And I'm not saying I got it 100%, but it's like kind of amazing. And that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's me. It's just kind of
Did
amazing.
you do that this time? You did that this time too? Or
Yeah, that's what we did this time.
I think you're getting better at it because they got us beat. This third anthology, I'm like, oh, they got us beat.
Well, thank you very much, Becca and LadiRev. This was a beautiful reading. And I'm going to move on to the next group, a partner pair, who is, I have Zakiyyah, G.E. Capehart, and her partner, John Bundy, is here today. And I know Zakiyyah had asked, will John be there? So I'm going to spotlight both of you, and then we can decide. I think they worked it out differently, but I would love to spotlight both John and Zakiyyah and see if we can have them read, or Zakiyyah may read on John's behalf. I'm not quite sure how that's going to go. But you need to turn on your camera, otherwise we can't see you. So Zakiyyah, we can't see you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Can you see me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
You can hear me. Great. Okay, wonderful. Well, I'm so happy that John is here. Hey, John, how are you? Is his camera on?
Camera's not on. Hey, John. Waiting for the camera.
I know John is listening. He's okay. So we're just going to proceed as planned. Zakiyyah, I think you'll be reading for John.
Let's see, he's here. So it's, I would like for him to read first because the poem that he wrote, I let end from that one. If he could read first, and then I'll read the poem that I read from his, that we, yeah.
I think he asked if you would read for him.
Yeah, I don't, actually, I don't have his poem in front of me.
Okay, I'll read it.
Okay, great.
Or Dr. Okemwa, would you mind reading on behalf of John? Do you have his poem in front of you, or is it just me who has all the poems? Oh, you're on mute.
That I'm saying that I do not have his poem.
Okay, I will read it.
Yes.
John, is it okay? Can you put in the chat? Can I read your poem on your behalf? Oh, he's sharing it right now in the chat. Wonderful. Okay, you got to share it to everybody. Okay, great. And then I'll read the introductions while we're doing that. Zakiyyah G.E. Capehart is a writer, published poet, storyteller, performance artist, visual artist, radio producer, and host, and author. Her poetry is published in many anthologies and has been shared internationally. Zakiyyah's recent book, Ghana on My Mind, Poetic Reflections on Journeying to the Motherland, was #1 bestseller in African poetry on Amazon on March 13th, 2021. And then that's, sorry, Tyrese, that's the, I'll read his bio from the book. So while I'm at it, I'll just show you the back of the book. John Otiso Bundy would never have enjoyed poetry if it weren't for the intervention of one of his only fathers in writing, Dr. Okemwa. He mentored John into writing and always kept in touch on key aspects of improving his writing skills. Other significant poets that influenced John include Zakiyyah G.E. Capehart, Maya Angelou for The Heart of Modern America, Elizabeth Bishop for The Traveling Poet, and the all-time romantic poet Edgar Allan Poe. As one of the poets influenced by the romantic writers, John turns to the theme of love often in his writing. And so I will read John's poem. Son of a woman, I fell in love with the wrong babe, probably because she's got the right shape. Although I had strength like that of an ape, yet I fell for her like a flying cape, 'cause her beauty made me gape. Somehow I lost my will, 'cause continuously I was rolling on her wheel. I was wondering if it was real as my heart became my reel. Her lips were sweeter than sugar, her thighs were softer than a burger, her laps were cozier than a pillow. With her I had so many lilo. I was misled by my eyes, I was deceived by her lies, and by the time I realized they had already plucked off my eyes. In my quest for wedlock, I lost my dreadlock with love. I had bad luck, 'cause her heart had a padlock. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Continuously my heart moved for her, like a wall clock, but a warlock. She bewitched my soul. She turns on my switch, like a fine witch, whether an African witch or a white witch, I don't know which. And in ecstasy, I did not grant her wish, for she seemed a very switch. I believe, is that the last line? I believe there was a different one in the book. Zakiyyah?
Yes. Yeah, I kind of thought so too, but yes, I'm not sure. It looks like there's.
Can you read the one in the book? Is that John? It begins and never ends. I may cry this whole night. I might even cry for the rest of my life. But as I lost my right to even break down in tears, I feel hurt when I realize I can no longer see you with my eyes. I can no longer touch you with my hands, but I would feel you in my heart forever. You never said goodbye. You promised to never leave me. You said I'm leaving. Instead, you proved with your actions. A million times I needed you. If love alone could have saved you, I would have never lost you. A million times I loved you. I hate having to say goodbye to a friend I know I won't get to see again in my life. Anyways, goodbye. I miss you.
Okay. Yes, that's the poem that I remember. So my poem is entitled Those Yesteryears. And I took the last line of John's poem, the one that Carla just read, in the Renchi style that we wrote in. And his last line was, anyways, goodbye, and I miss you. The years have been long, much too long to remember the hurtful times we encountered in our relationship. But I do remember the beautiful times we shared. Those yesteryears were magical. And in this moment, I want to embrace our life together again. Knowing it is impossible, I cling to those memories and mourn losing you in your physicality, albeit we will spiritually be together eternally. As a child, I did not understand your unrelenting outspokenness, protesting so me and my siblings could attend better schools. I wanted my mother at home safe, not out in the community fighting for school rights, because I heard the unkind words and saw the hatred in the eyes of white people that wanted to keep Black children out of their schools. Working tirelessly at home with 6 children and holding down a job, you knew the importance of advocating for your family and the community, instilling in us the necessity of education. Your powerful, gentle brilliance continues to guide and fortify my life. It is the mirror that I hold, the blessings that unfold, the wisdom that must be told. So my second poem, now that poem I actually dedicate to my mom who transitioned last year. And I miss her, still miss her, still think about her every day. And I am so honored to have had her. For 94 years, she was on the planet. So my second poem that I'm pulling up now is entitled, Drum Me Up Some Freedom. Drum me up a beat that opens my heart. Drum me up a beat and listen to the codes that the ancestors wove into the quilts, opening the eyes to whispers and plans of escape, speaking to the freedom, breaking these chains and shackles, removing the noose from our necks and the fire flames burning our bodies. Drum me up a beat that frees our incarcerated minds that bind and have imprisoned us all this time. Drum me up a beat that continues to resonate, reiterate, reverberate, implanting the courage that kept the tenacity and audacity focused in the consciousness of the ancient ones who once orchestrated the world. Drum me up a beat that speaks and repeats, giving homage to the lineage, culture, heritage, and history of the people of African descent. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zakiyyah. And thank you, John, for participating. I do hope you will see each other face to face sometime. Yes, that was beautiful. It was a beautiful exchange.
Yeah, I hope so, John. I hope we can get to see each other in Kenya when we travel next year. Okay, blessings.
Blessings, beautiful reading. Thank you so much, Zakiyyah. Zakiyyah was also in the
Thank
first
you.
exchange in Ghana. Yeah, so I am going to go to the next two readers. I think. Next we have Darius Simpson and Cornelius Kipkoskai. Can you correct me on my pronunciation, Dr. Okemwa? Is Cornelius here? Yeah, there you are, Cornelius.
I thought I saw him.
Yes.
He should be around.
Cornelius, can you turn on your camera so we can see you? Hi, Darius. While we're doing that, oh, Christopher, would you mind? I'm going to put, can you see the chat?
I can't see the chat here from here.
Okay, would you mind reading Cornelius's bio?
Yeah. Yeah, it's okay if you can do that.
Okay, I'll put it in the chat. Okay, I'll start with Darius. Darius Simpson is a writer, educator, performer, and skilled living room dancer from Akron, Ohio. He aims to inspire that feeling you get that makes you frown and slightly twist up your face in approval. Darius believes in the dissolution of empire Whew. And I have, and the total. And the total what, Darius?
That's it. And the total. Yep. Period.
Excellent. All right. Dr. Okemwa, could you read Cornelius?
Where is it posted? Is it on the?
In the chat.
Oh my, I can't.
I'll just read it. Can you just pronounce his name for me correctly, his last name?
Cornelius Kipkosigei.
Cornelius Kipkosigei has contributed
Yes.
poems to several anthologies: Shackles of Pain, When I Marry Rimato, Black Lives Matter, Echoes from the Plains, The Garden of Wild Roses, and he is the author of Wanda, My Love, a collection of poems. So welcome. We need to see you, Cornelius. Can you hear us? We're going to have you go ahead and start, Darius, and we'll work on making sure Cornelius can get on. Is that okay? Or you want to wait a second while I try and do some troubleshooting?
Yeah, I'm down to wait.
Okay, great. Cornelius. I just saw him.
Yeah, I thought I also saw him.
But now I don't. Maybe.
I think
Tyrese.
the connections must be bad. Anyway, you know, this time of the day in Kenya, it normally rains and there's a lot of thunderstorms and lightning everywhere. And it's not a very good time for us here to participate in such an activity because normally there's a lot of interruptions from the rain in the evenings and a lot of thunderstorms and lightning. But maybe next time we could do it around 3 o'clock Kenyan time, or maybe midday if possible. But that cannot
It's like
work
2 in the morning
sometimes.
our time.
Yeah, that would be too early for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
We have
So,
a few options. Christopher, do you mind texting Cornelius and seeing if he's there, and maybe because it seems, Darius, like you're excited to read together, we could move on and come back if we could wait a few minutes. Our next reader is Halima. Halima, would you be willing to step up now, and then we can try and get Cornelius back on?
Yeah, I'm good. That's cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay, wonderful. So thank you. Thanks for that. We always need to work through the different technologies in these readings, and it's been really relatively amazing tonight. I got a text from you, Tongo, and I'm gonna send you an email just so you know. Halima J. Olufemi was born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi. She's a member of the Malcolm X grassroots movement, JNX People's Assembly, Holla Black Poetry Circle, and she also works with People's Advocacy Institute as director of the Participatory Defense Program. Her poetry centers around liberation and Black feminist thought. Welcome, Halima.
Thank you, Carla. And so y'all asked at the beginning to identify if there would be some triggers, and I am just going to read three poems together, right? And y'all probably need to get ready. There will be some things in there, so I want y'all to know that. There are three poems. One is Tell Them, the next is Bloody First, and the other one is I Am a Black Woman. So let me get started. Her heart is heavy with despair. It hasn't been held in a while, searching for forever and temporary men drifting in the waves. because she is vast and mysterious and her energy is volcanic. It is not if she erupts, it's when. Yes, she's killed a few and they're afraid she wants another sacrifice because their intentions are not pure. Like the one that finds her convenient, mistakes her silence for ignorance, ignores her completely and does what he pleases, or the one that throws her a bone every now and then to pacify her feelings. Got her tiptoeing on eggshells to remunerate his feelings. He running from commitment while she waiting like a draft pick in the last round. Or the one trying to convince her out of intuition like it's not a big deal that he's defensive or that his language is overly aggressive or that he rarely has nice things to say. He seems threatened by her presence and treats her like a nemesis, or the one that feels compelled to police her behavior but never wants to be questioned about his. Makes her feel dirty after sex because he rushes to clean. He labels her mean because she challenges his archaic way of thinking. She lets him know her place is wherever she wants to be and that her life is not his democracy. See, she understands the implications of these encounters that reveal the pathology of her own behavior. Deeply rooted in the idea of submission, she internalizes being inferior. So the ancestors come for her in dreams, tell her she needs to start listening. They hold her accountable and start to speak to her clearly. With all your learning, you still being stupid. Fix your posture. It's not what we taught you. Tell them your veins pump gun fights and hard liquor, and you don't mince words with fragility. Tell them you preach revolution that says women are people too. Don't set expectations for us that you won't set for you. Tell them they are unwittingly bound to a culture of dominance fueled by religious indoctrination and violence. Tell them to stop whipping you into submission with books to justify their enslavement. Tell them to stop holding you responsible for their inability to control their urges. Tell them to work on their holiness as fervently as they work under your clothes, and tell them they are not your master. Tell them they're not your Lord. Tell them to stop making decisions in the name of protection when you mostly need protection from them. Tell them that your body is not theirs. Don't argue your humanity with people who even lack the surface understanding of sexism and toxic masculinity perpetuated by men and women passed down to our children. They treat women like children. Until they need our services, until they need a nanny, a doctor, a cook, or a servant. Tell them to suck their indignance, swallow their self-righteousness, and roll over in their self-consciousness. You don't need their redemption. You don't need their permission. And unless you ask for it, they can keep their opinions. And when they attack, label you too aggressive, paint you as angry because you won't take their shit, walk away. Ignore their insults, ignore the insolence, ignore the, yo, I heard she don't even like men. Because the truth is you don't like ignorance, the stupidity of double standards, the insanity preserved by white supremacist, capitalist, patriarchy, and racism. See, I guess my outfit said I wanted to be raped. Let her lay in that puddle of blood. Mama clean the sheets later. Did it slide you between the legs at the expense of my feelings? My pants was pink. Could you see me bleed? I mean, you did walk me home after you finished, couldn't look me in the eye, but I thank you for your chivalry. Ain't nothing like your first time when you don't know it's your first time. I heard ways you can't imagine. See, I was forcibly introduced to the treachery of false prophets, and righteously what I learned most is I don't need a savior to crown my trauma. Like Frida Kahlo, I'm fragile like a bomb, not a flower, and the pain I carry isn't always my own. It is the residue from the visceral spirit of thieves who pillaged the temple with bloody swords and vicious tongues trying to conquer or break or tame my spirit like their masters before them. Disband and respect they had no intentions on giving, expecting loyalty from any women they show their attention because we've been conditioned to think that our lives are of little consequence, absent that of a man. Many think we should seek their validation. We are encouraged to hold on to pieces of them rather than embrace the whole of ourselves. And even though we were built to recover from pain, it is cruel and unconscionable to exploit our emotions just to make your nut look pleasurable. We are shamed for our emotional tirades that were triggered by emotional tyrants, wearing leather belts or baseball caps or blue suits with designer shades, projecting their insecurities on our independence, throwing stones at shadows and bricks at shades. See, I have no desire to love under duress against a standard that wasn't ours to begin with, making unreasonable comparisons and unreasonable requests, using slavocracy as a guide. Well, damn, baby, you sound angry. No, I'm really not. You just feel threatened because I'm a warrior too, and my tongue pierces pride like a spear in the hands of a Zulu, wearing a mask to ward off cowards fighting to own me too. I'm not soft enough for you, not modest enough for you, and I'd rather be alone than to be controlled by you. I mean, really. You shouldn't want me to be your slave. What the hell is too independent anyway? People only discredit the value of independence when it comes to Black women, but embrace our power to benefit their causes. We teach girls to shrink themselves and their sexuality is different for them, and that we should act beholden to men for the inalienable right to live, seek permission, and cater to their whims when it is us who kept them safe inside our womb before they knew what it meant to live. But you can't do what a man do, babe. I'm so sick of hearing that shit. You don't have the right to tell me how they exist, which forces me into the role of a womanist because you refuse to treat me like a human. I'm not a pet. I don't step and fetch. So when I tell you to kiss my ass, you attack. Question my femininity and liken me to a man because I won't jump through hoops to serve you. Cooking is a life skill, not a gender role, and my appearance has nothing to do with you. So who cares if you like my hair short or long, curly or straight, natural or fake, makeup on my face, trying to uphold a European standard of beauty to placate your preference, vying for attention to be emotionally mistreated. You can't even imagine what it feels like to be a woman until somebody call you one. Then you damn near have a heart attack and want to fight whoever said it, especially if it's a woman. You feel emasculated because there's nothing worse than being a woman, right? Except being seen as a woman or called a woman by a woman who know what it means to be one. Now think about the gravity of that shit. How little you think of us and how little we've been taught to think of ourselves. Fannie Barrier Williams said what our girls and women have a right to demand from our best men is that they cease to imitate the artificial standards of other people and create a race standard of their own. Who better than you should understand what it means to be forcibly taken, to be seen as less than human with a mandate to live under the rules of somebody else. It's like you don't see suffering if you're not the center of attention. And most of the time, all we need you to do is listen. Stop supporting the world's efforts to misappropriate the strength of Black women and help us to retain it for our healing. And please understand, we are acutely aware of the hatred that exists against Black men, and we fight for you. All we want you to do is fight for us too. See, I'm a Black woman. I am that voice you don't want to hear. I am that beautiful reflection you see in the mirror, pointing out imperfections, holding pride in one hand and doubt in the other, vying to see who's gonna win. I am the construct of a past that took life from my mind and hid it between my legs so that sex will never be confused with intimacy again. I am brutal honesty, wrapped in delicate skin, releasing tears for myself and all that need them. I shed the blood of dead children and run fragile egos to Caucasians for coddling, wielding machetes and lightning when I walk, because my rays need protection, not guilt trips and pillow talk. I am your mother who knows you like she knows herself because she took the shots that gave you life and died 9 times to birth you. Her understanding has no boundaries in a world that keep us laboring to love you. I am your sister, nurtured from the same pain, seeking attention the same way, loving you with a hate that could only be related. I'll get in your face, slap out your soul away, and then wrestle you to the ground and tell grandmama, say, y'all stop all that tussling, gal, go on somewhere else to play. Be mad for 10 minutes, then race you down the street to play dodgeball or hide and go seek. I am your daughter. You should want to protect me, make me believe that make believe is real. Slay dragons, ignore temper tantrums, then love me unconditionally with understanding and honest compassion, not disdain and gaslighting tactics. I'm your queen. I'm not a science project. Your ribs have nothing to do with who does the dishes in the kitchen, don't care who cooking them, and a diaper with shit in it simply needs changing, and our hands work the same. I am herbs. I am medicine. I am hard because that day soft was taken. I am the undercurrent of blue that you see in a full moon. I am incense unfurling to the sounds of Badu. I am sunshine. I am sun rays. I am effervescence on Sunday. I am waves crashing in the sea. I'm doves crying to be seen. I am hurricane season. Exposing your treachery. I am Suge Avery. Running the same Miss Seeley. I am the reason Jesus rep. I am life after death. I am both heaven and hell. I am eternally blessed. I am mad at the world for their treatment of Black women. And I'm tired of apologizing for holding my freedom. I am pissed that people celebrate misogyny, then condemn Black women for simply resisting demons. You have no power over me. I hold thunder in my teeth and ride tsunamis through the streets, guiding dead bodies to come see me. I'm a god. None can enter but through me. I move the world with my mind by eating vegetables and sipping green tea. I am distant galaxies. I am dual realities. Yes, your majesty is the only shit you should say to me. I am audacity. I am sacrifice. I am everything you need except Lily White. I am not your cotton. My life is not for sale, so keep your mind games and manipulation over there with them. I said no. I am not your slave. Either stand with me or get the fuck out my way. See, I got too much power in me to stand behind a desk or wait for some man to give me his last name. I have my own. Holla. That's the end.
Wow, thank you so much.
You're
Just
welcome.
for bringing the fire. Thank you.
Wow.
Go ahead, Tyrese.
No, no worries. Let's let that one sit there.
Beautiful reading. Thank you so much, Halima. And thank you just for being there as a thought partner throughout this whole exchange. I'm hoping you get to meet Tyrese someday. I think you two would really, really get along well.
Thank you
so much. Yes, what a beautiful reading. I'm going to just reflect a little bit on how this particular exchange, we had a few prompts on the power of women, and it really is reflected in a lot of the poetry. And I think that was really a growth point for us as an organization. And Tyrese is one of the people instrumental in like bringing that up, bringing it up for us. So thank you, Tyrese, and thank you to all the voices here today, male and female, and and yes.
It's hard to even talk after listening to Halima. I just want to sit there. I want to like have that point, both three, right? It was 3 points. I want to have all three of them like right here so I can just read them and dissect them and study them and analyze them. That was amazing. I would be honored to meet all of you, definitely Halima, those of you that I haven't met already. With that being said, I made the dire mistake of posting everyone's bios to just the panelist chat. So I'm going to go back and I'll be posting that so everyone can see who these wonderful readers are and how to check them out and connect with them. So I'm sorry about that. I'll repost those one at a time. So if you see me randomly posting your bio again, it's not that you have to read again. It's just I made a little mistake. So I'm going to be doing that as we go on with the reading. So my bad.
Thank you, Tyrese. Okay, I wanted to share that we have 2 more readers, and I think we've lost Cornelius. So we're going to bring Darius back on, and just welcome Darius, and we'll try and work it out so that you can read with Cornelius at a different time. We are going to have a few more readings for this book later in the year. I know that Secret might be out here. I'm working with Patrice Lumumba, specifically Dajuan, to maybe do something in the near future at, oh my gosh, my brain. Yes, at Eastside Arts Alliance. So just to know that there will be another chance. Yes, so welcome, Darius, and can't wait to hear your poems.
What's going on, y'all? Shout out to my partner, Cornelius, wherever you are. I say I need to drink less, and tonight is the 3rd night in a row that my left hand is a short glass of whiskey. Does that make me a liar or an escape artist? And does it really make a difference on a San Francisco Sunday where the shoreline is coughing up hazmat suits, haze of unclearing throats meandering toward a blue, pink, gold Pacific backdrop? N95 means more to civilians now than it should. Election season means we may not make it to the ballot, and perhaps this disaster was man-made. Perhaps if we had emptied more magazines in the right direction, there would be less obituary on the East Side this morning. My therapist, who is neither licensed nor a therapist, speaks fluent empty shot glass, exchanges horror stories from the work week across a wooden countertop confessional. He asks, "What you running from?" I say, "You right." Pour another one, and watch me never run anywhere again. Either it goes down gasoline or ice water. Either way, our session ends with my legs stuttering into a dance floor. To be clear, after 2 drinks, anywhere my left foot lands is a dance floor, and I'm floating toward the sweet spot in the crowd, where bent knees begat spiraling backs, where sweat is offered up in praise to the DJ's intuition. Hooked elbow swung around the neck of my new best friend, who was a stranger 30 seconds ago, until that one song, when the entire venue faded to background noise while we, gods of salted skin, uncles who inherited the groove from our grandfathers, backyard 2-step practitioners, challenged by, what you know about this? And trained to kill that shit, fastened our eyes on the precision of each other's pop lock. We mirrored Lean with Rock and Harlem Shake with Dougie. One of us cast an A spell, while the other spun the floor into red velvet, twisted the air into a Thanksgiving kitchen humid. Liquor has a funny way of ironing the wrinkles out of introductions. So 3 or 4 hours or shots or bathroom breaks in, there we were, bouncing limbs in the middle of no one's living room. For a split second, thought we might have been immortal if we just drank enough midnight, if we just absorbed enough brown elixir. But we know what moonlight does to Black functions when the music stops, what uniformed wolves linger beyond the overwhelming exchange between bass drum and eardrum, how quickly the end of a song can bleed into a more lasting quiet. Happy endings are for white women. Glass slippers were invented by white men. Glass slippers make for a messy dance floor. Glass slippers make it hard to run from sirens. I live just east of a contradiction. Clumps of knotted human hair skip excitedly over sidewalk cracks and pairs. Screeching tires scrape murals into over-patrolled crosswalk paint. City trimmers and zip codes shaken loose from indigenous childhoods. Colonialism don't respect finders keepers. All's fair in genocide except self-defense. There are humans too familiar with the politics of thunderstorm forecasts, squalor sitting right next door to neighborhood-sized apartment buildings, half-empty baby bottles rolling over broken glass under the freeway, brand new cop cars taking victory laps around decade-old encampments, dead grass grappling with the distance between beating hearts, piles of repurposed couch cushions, and bench warrants covered in sewage. Climate crisis is disgusted by how many civilians we pile on the curb, while profits skyrocket for empty housing units, while a high-rise crawls out the chapped lips of an investor. I am not really sure how leasing works. I got my degree in human decency. I'm not really up on the latest ethics for ownership. All my comrades keep space on the couch and a spare blanket, push the weight limits of a Honda Civic, and there is always room. Saturday is a good excuse to shoplift under capitalism. Yesterday was sufficient evidence to stack bricks outside the courthouse. Yesterday was sufficient evidence to stack bricks outside the mayor's bedroom window. Yesterday was sufficient evidence to stack bricks outside glass houses. 1970s criminal records are waiting for academics to put on work boots. I'm not sure what's legal and what's tradition anymore, but at some point, y'all, sick of this shit has got to lead to us getting rid of city council, lest we be made of plastic promises too, lest the young have a bone to pick, lest that bone come from our inactive trigger fingers, lest there be no lands left to pick a fight on. I blame the suffering last for how we survived the winter. I blame the governor for flooded highways and raining ash. I blame poverty on vegan diet commercials and yoga studios. I blame police for lead pipes and poison middle school history lessons. I blame police for all the mornings my father bit his tongue on the job. I blame police for my lazy eye twitch and my obsessive desire to produce. I even blamed the sheriff's office last week when I stubbed my toe. It left an iron star-shaped blood stain in my sock. Thank you.
Yes.
No, thank you. Was that all on
here?
That was all one poem, Darius?
Oh no, that was two.
That was two. The first one took me there. I don't know if you could see, I was in there like, yes, to all of it. And then the second one took me there too, to a whole nother place. I love that first poem. Is that one in the anthology?
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Darius. Thank you to all the poets. It's just been such a wonderful, wonderful experience. To all of you out there in the group, our attendees, I know our chat is disabled, and so I know you can't respond, but I'm seeing a lot of love in the emojis, like the hearts and the fires and the stars coming up. So really, just so beautiful. We're here for our final poet. When we started to do this exchange, Dr. Okemwa had approached me and said, how's about East Oakland to East Africa? And even though I'm here in East Oakland, I was like, how am I going to get this together? I think I want to do it. So I reached out to Tongo Eisen-Martin, who at that time was not the current poet laureate of San Francisco, which he now is. And in his humble and thoughtful way, Tongo was like, well, what about Patrice Lumumba Writing Collective? And so I really need to thank you here for that introduction and for bringing all these beautiful poets together. Not all are here today, but we will have other readings where others are featured. With 54 poets in a novel, in the collection, it's kind of hard to have everybody at one time. So Tongo Eisen-Martin is an educator, organizer, whose work centers on issues of mass incarceration, extrajudicial killings of Black people, and human rights. And recently, I have to shout out, he's been taken a super huge active stance in the community school, the saving of Parker Elementary out in East Oakland, which is really, really, really important work. And he's been out there. So thank you again, Tongo. He was born in San Francisco and earned his MA at Columbia University. He's the author of Someone's Dead Already and nominated for the California Book Award, Heaven is All Goodbyes, and received the American Book Award and the 2018 California Book Award. He's the current poet laureate of San Francisco. Welcome, Tongo.
Right on. I had this dream, planted dead in the weekday that I was laid up in the hospital, and people kept coming into my room by the dozens, and each dozen had special handshakes for each other and occasionally current dance moves. And they would kick my hospital bed from time to time to let me know that they'd be dancing from this hospital room on out to my grave. Strange cha-chas and soft shoe shuffles, disco spins, like they were dancing for a white sundial, marking numbness in their feet, drum race riding. I was ready to die because, ask a musician in the tombs after court, it's the surroundings that is the uniform, but still I just couldn't bring myself to visualize against God. One of them stood over me like a conductor, waving their arms over my body, directing my heart to beat fainter and fainter, directing the tubes to turn the fluids back. And I faded from consciousness with thud after thud on the legs of my bed as they danced, wilder and wilder. Wild but meek, or artificially meek, like an artificial pastor told him to be. I was to be some kind of projection or character to be laid at their feet. You're the only one participating in the revolution today. They mocked me, and I was ready to go because there are plenty of pianos that could use a new soul. And I'm thinking we're supposed to be in the revolution for as long as it takes. You can punch me out now. I mean, I was born with one foot in a lime pit anyway, but man, check it out. No one bothered to ask the doctor if I was really dead. Too busy strutting too busy kissing. And I faded with only enough breath and sweet consciousness to count their smiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know. Then I heard a voice, a whisper, and it was counting with me. 6, we said. 7, we said. 8. Then another voice joined us. 9, 10, then another. I haven't been eating, Mama. I've been in a trance. I haven't been sleeping. I've been washing my face off the port of Charleston. There is blood on the fog. Societies wander together like hopeful drops of a virus. Citizen testaments bent on offering me. A nation of breadwinners to hold me back like it's a Brinks. I wrinkle the concrete sometimes like flesh. My Martin Luther King permanence turned away from a podium into the reeds like God is the dangerous twin. Black August to the mountaintop balcony on my bedroom floor. You know, they steal you from the earth itself and suspend you in your broken neck from their foolish euphoria. From the loyalty oath to their great superstitions, loyalty oath to their agrarian reform, I returned to my mother completely disrespected. For peeling the heat off of purgatory, they kill poets like me. Walk me away from my poems, never to be heard from again. In this foul industrial complex of bloodlines picked over, picked through, a sport and spiritual death of your devil at least half made, police become a pretty word. I'm reading a lynch mob shoestrings like they were tea leaves, teaching you how to write about cities. It's the 25th century in the mirror, people. Tyranny against your chump, change your chump to be mocked even with a gun in your car. A cubit of needlework spelled tuned for the proletariat, the relapse ministry. Talented people curled up in a fetal position next to a diamond dying, just another service day in the theatrics of tea house fascism and a bouquet of surveillance cameras and the poverty of God. A new blue eyes, corpses of water, a newly potted presidency, a one big shiny corn if you ask an animated capitalism, another non-literal voice killing his white freedom. The deification of hyphens, medicine bread and picture shows, great protesters in LA, guests of our ink, jock kicking roses in the graveyard, DC mink like a stone torn in half, the pen advances. Despite CIA guideposts, despite non-African past and futures, a metaphorical but not surreal day in a horn-ridden life, horn player, improvising king. Like a radio prize fight featuring Shango himself, a real hand sweeps the land of racism. May I return to the ground? May I make progress with the gun? On our mother Emmanuel, they put on music that evening, a swinging type body language for you to drink with fermented $5 bills. For your body language, some applause. My past stomach lining, neither a good thing nor a bad thing, like being psychic on the way to a lethal injection. It'll sit you down with Lady Day. Lady Day leading youth who surrendered their souls to Africa too soon. Polity thought floating in the cup of water, she saved me. Accessing my stomach, accessing the love of the American lynch. Coat sleeves, wooden and avalanche into the wrist. Our mother Emmanuel, avalanche into the sharp keys, pain. The deal you make with pain. Piano makes sense for them. Laying hands on the world gradually. Addressing the bending necks on the streets of the north. Travelers sailing in pain, repeating pain in the north. 10 trigger fingers on that piano if harmony would have me. Putting 100 fights on every direction, offer the Lady Day, leaning on trees again, recruiting the countryside itself, saying lay your plan on this lightning. Make your poems a corner pocket of men. I've greeted the blues itself. America may clean my dead body, but will never include me. There goes the poet. Killing without killing. Never mind this painting of your language. May I be a meaningful lynching. A crow's passing. Good and dead by the afternoon. Right on here.
Wow.
Carla.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Tongo. Sharing some new work with us. Powerful.
Yeah, I had the privilege to study under Professor Eisen-Martin, and I was captivated then as a student, and I've graduated, and I'm still captivated as a student because you taught me something again. All y'all really taught me something. I want to go and buy like 50 more books so I can go pass them out and people can learn from your words. Like I got a lot of work to do. We all do. And more ways than one.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. So we have come to the end of our features. It was just at each and every one of your words was so fantastic. We have a short 10 minutes left for questions and answers. I'm hoping we can remove the spotlight and go into gallery view. That would be super great. And if everyone could turn on their cameras, we will take some questions from the audience. I see in the Q&A, I'll just read the comments. I see a few thank yous to specific readers. Thank you to Halima from Carolyn Schutten. And then I think that's it. I don't see any questions, but we do have some questions from that were sent into our last panel, which Tyrese is going to bring up. So I think I'll hand it over to Tyrese for the Q&A.
Okay, and so anyone can answer, so you can just unmute and answer the questions. One question that was posed last, how did you grow from this exchange personally or professionally? So anybody can take that. I think you're muted. Dr. Okemwa? Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I'm saying, come again. Please ask the question again.
Sure. How did you grow from this exchange personally or professionally?
Yeah, let me answer it in the best way I can. Let me say that personally, I've never participated in an exchange program of this kind. And at the beginning, I didn't know exactly where it was going. But now I've realized that the Renshi Japanese poetry format is such a great thing that is really bringing us together, the diaspora and the African poets together, and tying our poems and the language and the expression into one thing and learning from each other and so on. And it's really bringing us together in such a big way, in such an amazing way than I expected, and it's taking such a great turn. And for next year, I am thinking in a very big way how it's going to be when you people come, when you poets come from diaspora to Kenya, and what's going to happen, and which kind of theme can we coin from all these kind of exchanges, and how shall we receive you? What shall we do? Which kind of activities shall we really have together and so on? Of course, I can say that the young poets in Kenya, Kisii University, or maybe generally in Africa, love spoken word. They love hip hop and all this kind of stuff. And they might want to hear more and more about how you people came to find yourself where you are, especially through slavery, through colonialism and so on. They will really be very glad to know how you separated from them and how you found yourself in the other side and how they remained where they are and so on. So this kind of history, the ancestral history and all this kind of stuff will be very interesting to our audience here when you come. So so come with a lot of spoken word, come with a lot of hip hop when you come with a lot of history stuff and so on. And we look forward to have you here. We look forward to host you. We look forward to really get reunited with our brothers and sisters who are coming to Kenya next year. So I might want to get connected with Carla and find out which is the most suitable theme, or maybe, yeah, theme of that festival. Because one is the Caribbean poets, like most of them who have been here. Once they hear that you people are coming in a big team, they might also want to come. They might be excited to come. And most of other Black American poets who have been here before, like one single Rose from Detroit, who has been here many times, and Professor Oppo Adisa, who maybe you already know. Most of them might want to come next year, because next year we are celebrating the 10th the 10th year anniversary of Orchestra Poetry Festival, and most of them want to come back when we are going to celebrate the 10th year of our festival. So it might coincide, it might be the right time that you are also coming. So we might have a Black Poetry Festival. We might have something like what we are doing right now, Black rootedness, issues of ancestors, the soul journey, or the journey soul, whichever way you call it, what Carla had in 2013 to Ghana. So we might have a similar thing, poets coming to Kenya from the diaspora and discovering their ancestral land and so on. I also, I've learned a lot about the film Sankova. I've learned other things, like now the anthology that is called Our Spirits Carrying Our Voices, and also the Black Fire anthology, which I've not read, but I've discovered that these anthologies are existing, and I might want to go forward and find these anthologies and read them and find out more what's written there. Especially, I want to watch the film Sankova, that's about the Atlantic slave trade that has been spoken in the introduction of this anthology. And then I also look forward to meet you poets, the Halima and Seestah, you know, Carla, all these kind of poets whom we are having the exchange with, and to be able to see each other face to face. That would really be very exciting and very amazing. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Okemwa. Thank you for telling us about Kistres too, and congratulations on it being its 10-year anniversary. We're going to do one more question. And Halima, would you mind answering this for me? Your poem stuck out with everyone. Everyone's poetry was amazing. But I'm really interested about, how did you prepare yourself to write a poem or one of the poems that you read today? Either way, how do you prepare yourself to write?
So, you know, it's hard to answer because my poems are just inspirations, right? But the one specifically, it is just that, you know, I think all the time, and I recognize injustices, and I'm like, we can't do this, but then I don't know how to stop it. And I have all of these words in my mind, and I just have to get them out. And so my preparation is silence. It seems funny, but I have a friend that's like, oh, I'd go crazy because I don't have a TV. I don't typically take, no, I have a TV. I don't have a TV in my bedroom.
Okay.
I didn't stop the sentence right in the right way. So I take time to just be in silence because there's a lot of information there. And so when I prepare, I listen to whatever my heart says. Sometimes it's emotional, but I just listen to whatever the ancestors have for me, because there's a lot of information. We have, you know, I don't call us African Americans often, but when I think about being an African that was displaced in America, I think about everything that we don't understand and the culture that we try to embrace that we don't really know. You know, my name was changed by the Malcolm X grassroots movement. They gave it to me, but there's so much history that we don't understand. And so when I prepare for a poem, I just allow the ancestors to talk to me, and I listen in silence. And I just take time to, I read, I research, and then I accept whatever I am feeling at the time, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. I can tell you, it sounds like they're speaking through you and through your words and how you share your words, not just through the words, but how you present your words. So
yes, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you.
I think just looking at the clock and honoring everyone's time and space with us right now, that would be the last question. I do believe, Carla, do we have a last reading for the open mic to kind of round us out and send us home?
I believe from our open mic, I did not see anybody who came except obviously and wonderfully Lisa Gray. Lisa, are you ready for the open mic? We had a lot of communications. Have a closing poem for us? You're muted.
Sure, I can do something quickly. And they're actually, so these are, I was in the other poetry exchange that did its reading last week. And I'm gonna share two very, very short poems that came out of that work with my partner. And the first one is called Let Us Not Pretend. Let it be. We contend and not pretend that we do not recall babies marching for freedom down streets built on the backs of nameless souls, their dusky hues rendering them invisible for eternities. Let us not pretend that last year, last month, last week, yesterday, blue monsters did not smother another mother's hope. She reaches for starlight, sitting on the back porch, and her fingers pluck memories from sky as sirens wail a song of death. The hole in her heart now grown round enough for her to slip into its dark depths as she sits smoking a Newport, a tear tickling her nose. She wants him back, her sunshine, but no marches, no juries, no prayers will resurrect his precious body, a threat. So she sits on the back porch, remembering. Dear Mom,
So much.
missing you today. Time stopped when you had to leave. So hard to let you. Thinking of your smile, memory washes away and summer comes again. But I still cry at night and while shopping on weekends for groceries and weed. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a beautiful way to end. Thank you all for coming. My mom is here. She wants to say hi.
Hi, everybody.
We are also a super inspiration in my life, Mom. So we are ready to close the reading. I will send the recording if I'm able to access it, if and when. Thank you so much all. It was a beautiful reading, and yes, until next time.
Until next time. See you later.
Where Landon go? Oh.